Thank you, Kat, for helping. So let me tell you about myself. That's a good one. So I'm 37 years old. I'm Russian, and I started tricklining when I was 32 without any sports background. It felt really awkward because at that time we had the trio of Luc Distel, Zeph, and Martin at the beach training and throwing crazy stuff. And I felt like an old lady, trying to get into something that I wasn't supposed to do. And I was really scared about everything on the line, and my progress was really slow. And I tried to figure out why it was that way. And right now, I've been tricklining for 5 years, and I think I made some progress. I also have two Guinness records that are not related to my skill level, but they're related to the creativity that I explored on a slackline. So Dylan Lusberg is asking, what do you think is the next trick that will change tricklining in the next few years? I think it's more of a question that somebody like you have to answer, because my level is not like my approach, and like what I want to talk about today is more about how to find your best trait. Like, I think it's more for people like me, like for people who are either starting out and like having doubts and having fears. It's not for pros. So I would appreciate questions a little bit more related to that. So the first questions that I have prepared, how to progress to feel confident. So the first, like when you're just starting out to trickline, especially if you don't have any sports background, it's really intimidating because you're gonna be sitting or standing on a 2-inch line up high, with nothing around you, which is like not a normal thing to experience. And especially like when you're sitting on one side of the line, you'd feel that you can fall into like the other side of the line. And a lot of people suggest like learning how to bail out, which is like a backflip off the line at first, not to be scared. But actually, like exactly that thing was super scary for me. And I was starting to get used to it just like a few years after I started. But that's definitely like one of the things to learn or to try with somebody spotting you to feel more comfortable. Like I think it just takes time to become more comfortable, and it's a hard first step. Even if you have some background, even if you're like a gymnast and stuff, like you would feel more comfortable with your body, you would feel more comfortable with falling, but still like the first steps, like the first bouncing on your body is gonna be hard. Like it's gonna take some time. But once, what do I mean to get used to it? I mean, it takes practice. Like if you go and you do it in a safe way for like an hour a day, like every other day, or like twice a day, every other day, you will feel more comfortable eventually. Like you'll feel more comfortable on your butt, or you feel more comfortable on your feet. It depends. Like either you're not totally prepared, like you don't have like any sports background, or you do have a sports background, because like gymnasts, they tend to like try different stuff on the slackline, and they get slapped and they get like thrown off because they don't normally get like injured the first times. But it just takes a while for anyone on earth to learn how to bounce on your butt or like bounce on your feet on a slackline. So I have another question. How you get over the fear of injuries? I've gotten 3 concussions and I don't feel like it's a good idea to do high risk activities, but I love slack. Oh, I think when people get like serious injuries like this, it means that there is something kind of like is missing. Like they either going like way higher than their current level, or they don't have a safe conditions to train. I would suggest to try like the first time you start tricklining, you set up a very low line. You have either a sand under the line or some pads. You hold somebody's hand if you're not sure. And if you have pads, a lot of the time, like when people put pads next to each other, there is a gap between the pads, and they can twist their ankle or something like this. I said like the best thing I saw was in Brazil. They had pads sewn together, so there is no gaps between the pads, like they're leveled out. And they had a tarp, like a tarp that covers trucks. It's like a waterproof, thick material that covers the padding. So you won't have uneven surface, and it feels really, really good. So if you do it over the ground, and once you start learning like tricks like a 360 where you land on your butt and then you fall backwards, even over sand or something like this, you can hit your head. Like I think like there is, I don't know, for me I felt really safe on a lower line, even though some people say like if you do it on a lower line and if you fall backwards then you hit your head. But I think it's really intimidating to try it on a higher line. And like I used a hand as long as I needed to. I still use it for certain tricks when I'm not comfortable. What pushes you to pull a trick rather than letting it go and be safe? I think I'm the opposite. I'm actually staying safe for way too long. And for me, I had to learn how to push myself to do it. So I'm like the opposite. So there are some people like Carissa, I think, because I think you probably push yourself a little bit harder than your your level is, and that's how you get injured. Or sometimes people like get injured, they don't slackline, they go back, like Brianna, they go back and then they go super hard and then they get injured again. So for me, I had to learn how to push myself. And for me, it was creating safe conditions that I feel really safe, and tried many, many, many times. And then my body let me try it like a little differently or a little higher. And that's how I was able to pull off some tricks. Like I have a video about how I learned the front flip, and since I started training over sand, and I didn't have enough time to throw front flip enough over pads, like it was a really hard trick for me to stop being scared of. And I have a video like exactly how I got over the fear of throwing it. Also, there are different ways to stay safe. Like I talked about the pads. Then there is a way you can put a slackline pad on the line, which, like, especially for beginners, when they start just bouncing on their butt and they get all like butt gets really sore and they get all scratched up, I feel like this could be a good start. Like, and I I started doing it, the slackline pad, and then it spread out all over the world, and Kirill was a part of it too. And it's so nice to see right now in Japan, like they have it in the gym, just sitting on the line, and you can move it over to. Let me show you what I actually mean by slackline pad. It can be like as easy like this, but it's actually fixed to the line, so you can bounce on it. So you can use that. You can use somebody else throwing an actual pad, like a light baby pad on the line before you land on the line. You can use a harness, like a harness with ropes on the side. If you start like throwing flips, it's a luxurious setup. So it's not like not everywhere you can do it, but I did it in Brazil, and it helped a lot with like getting rid of fear. Also, I personally have a jacket that I use. I'll show you in a second. Like with I use it for, this is the back of the jacket, and it has inserts of foam inside, just like regular yoga mat, and it's very light. So I put it on, and it protects my arm here. Oh, I see the question. Thanks, Olga. Helps a lot. You inspire me. Love you. You go, girl. Come back to Chile. So it protects my arm from slapping the line, and protects like until here, because that's where it slaps normally. And it protects my back. And it has space in the middle of the line right here for the line to go to. It helped me a lot to learn back bounces, because like when you learn back bounces, it's so painful to fall. So this jacket helped me to take a lot of pain away. And I was able to throw back bounces much more, because I wasn't scared to get to get slapped, or I wasn't scared of pain as much. And it also, this jacket helps with any tricks that like 360 or anything that can like swap your side and like slap your hand. Like I don't like my least favorite thing in slacklining is to get slapped. I know some people are not afraid of it, but for me it was like a big thing that I had to, like, I still have to deal with it. Okay, so let's see what other questions. Since we don't have the ones in the chat, I can go off the prepared ones. Suggest trick combinations to level from to move into. I have a video that I did with Alison Ferreira. He is great at all of the variations and creative ways to bounce. Like, especially, like, he's a great teacher, and we created a video with different combinations that you can work on. That you can work on, and I think it's very useful to have like different combos that you can break down into tricks and work on different tricks, and then combine them and work on that combo. You can work like on a part of a combo, and then if it doesn't, if you can't quite make the whole combo, you can like split it into parts and then try to connect the combo. I think that's helpful. And when you start, it's really boring at first, because you can't do much stuff. You can just basically bounce on your butt and like maybe go on your feet with help, and it's really boring. But you can create like little even combinations with with little tricks. You can go like butt to feet, then like a little bounce on your feet, then go to butt. Like and do it like 3 times. Or you can learn, like when you're learning a chest bounce, it's not like very solid yet, then you can maybe play with a Korean. Korean is when you land like with a line between your legs, but it's not quite between your legs. You land to the position close to your butt bounce. So you can create some stuff with that, and I really like playing in a lower line, like lower and short trick line, and just jump on my feet. I think it creates like a great exercise for your balance. And in the video with Allison, there are exercises that you can do on a lower line as well. Okay, let me see if I have any questions. How do you stay motivated? Seeing guys doing insane tricks makes me think there is no point in trying. What makes you keep trying? I think since I started as a person who wasn't doing great, I kind of got used to everybody being like so much better than me, and of me moving slow. But I think what makes it fun for me is to create challenges that are on the edge of my abilities, and kind of try to do them. And with tricklining, you can always Kat is asking what length is too short. Like a short line would be, I don't know, like 12 feet, just like a tiny trick line. It can be longer, but it's just to jump on your feet. You can jump on your feet on a big line as well. It's just like it's easier to jump on the shorter line. Yeah, so for me, it's the challenges that I create for myself and that I'm working on. Because you can always create a challenge with trickline. That's why I love it so much. Because okay, you can jump to your feet, but can you combine this trick and like can you go for me it was hard to do a few chest bounces in a row. I know for a lot of people it's easy. Like you can play with little things like, okay, can I do like 3 chest bounces in a row? Can I go chest to feet and then like a little jump and then to chest? Like you can create so many bounces, so many different challenges, and it doesn't stop with any level. Like once you go so once you go on the like higher level, you can always like add a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. It never stops. So I wouldn't compare yourself with anybody else. I mean, you can just to like get inspiration of like what you can possibly work on, but you can create your own things that you can work on and work on them. Like for me, I have a list. Like what I figure out what works for me the best is to have a list of stuff that I'm working on. Let's say it's like a weekly plan. It's a weekly plan. And okay, I have more questions. It's a weekly plan, and then I actually mark what I did that day and what progress I made. And I try to split my training into like basic skill that I'm working on. Then I have combos that I'm working on, and then I have a new skill that I'm working on. So that's how I split my training. And when I was in Brazil, the best thing for me was to go and train twice. So I would go and train like an hour and a half in the morning when I have like a lot of concentration. Then I would go rest and I would come back. And I would slightly work in different things in the morning and in the afternoon. So questions 1, how do you move from slackline to trickline? I think you can start. I think a really good start is to have a really tight 2-inch line, like a short one, like maybe 15-20 feet, tight one. So you would use ratchets to tighten it, and just start bouncing a little bit on your feet, or set up a short trick line, like I don't know, maybe 50 feet, which is very short, and low, but it would feel more comfortable rather than a big high line, because you have more control over bouncing. So you can just start bouncing on your butt a little bit, go to your feet, go to butt, feet, hold somebody's hand, like try to bounce on your chest a little bit, and that's how you start. That's how it starts. What about long line and high line? Do you have ambition in these two disciplines? I like tricklining. I like to bounce. Like when right now during quarantine, I've missed bouncing so much that when I got on the like a tiny little trickline, like jib line, it felt so good to just like feel the bounce. And I think that's what got me attracted to trickline in the first place, because I always liked trampoline, but I wasn't accepted to do trampoline when I was 7 because I've been always too tall. So in Russia they didn't let me do it in the group where I wanted to do it. So when I tried tricklining, for me that bouncy feeling just creates a very I don't know, it's like sweetens my soul. So for me it's that. Long line, I tried a little bit. I wouldn't say like I walk really long lines, but I think long lines are fun. Highlining, I'm super scared of highlining. It's such a big amount of stress for me, and I don't love it enough to like ease myself into it. But I really like the new discipline like highline freestyle, and it looks beautiful, and I think it's like it's going to develop even more in the future. So I think it's great, and it's also has tricks, but it's a different way of bouncing. So I have salmon 15 meters 2-inch webbing. I rigged it really tight and butt bounced for an hour or two while the ratchet wasn't getting off. Our specific systems for trickline. Thank you. So I like the beginner line, like the beginner setup that I would suggest. I really like the boss setup with alpha ratchets. Like there's actually a handle to this ratchet. It's you can buy it online. It's I think it's the best beginner setup because also 15 meters is too short. Like to bounce nicely, like so you don't, because if you bounce in a shorter line, it's really hard on your spine and on everything because it's very, very tight and it doesn't like ease you into the bounce. So okay, let me see. I don't know, like 80 feet, 90 feet. Like if you're a pro, like you would like I know Dylan likes it closer to like 100 feet. So, but if you're just starting out, I would suggest not less than like 55, 60 feet. Because like the first time you bounce is gonna give you a little bit more control, but I wouldn't stay there long because then you're gonna have to deal with a lot of pain and stuff. But this boss setup I really like because it has a bigger ratchet, so it's easier for you to crank them. But any ratchet system is gonna ruin your line sooner or later because like the line gets a little bit jammed in the ratchet. And you have to adjust the line to the center of the ratchet every time, but it's still sooner or later it creates like little nicks on the line and it gets ruined. So you have to replace lines. Also, I really like the jib line for, let me show you this one, for just jumping on feet. It's a cool line. I'm training on it right now because there is no way to set up a longer setup right now, but I really love pulleys. So the pulley system, I have a video about how to create a pulley system from scratch, so you can watch it on YouTube. Pulley systems with line locks, they don't damage the line. You can use the line forever. You can tension longer lines. You can use this pulley system for your long line or high line. So it's great to have it. So I'm a fan of pulley systems. You can ask me questions if you have questions about gear anywhere, like on Instagram, Facebook. I'll be happy to help you with that. You created a lot of creative projects, photography, videos that include tricklining. Why are these important for the field? I just like I'm the person. I like photography and I like video, like making videos. For me, it's a way to enjoy that spectrum. And I've been hired to do photo shoots for like Adobe, for Diesel, for Audi, and it was really great to do those. And I think there is an aspect of tricklining that like has that creative side, but there's also I love the videos that like Jan creates, Tare created, Ben creates, and Benny, like all of those creative videos are great because I think that's how also tricklining spreads. That's how other people get to see it in the world because we're still a growing sport, so it's important to spread it so we can get more support for competitions, events, and stuff like this. There's also a big part of like performing on trick lines, and I'm not an expert in this, but I had a chance to be close to people who are performing, so that's also a great way to that's how other people saw it probably, and that's how it started to be used in circus shows, and that's like a totally different aspect of tricklining. It's a performing side of it, which is becoming bigger than I think than competitive side of tricklining. Yeah. So for me personally, it's just my creative side, and I like it. And I think that's what led me to like the Guinness records, because I tried to use ballet shoes on a slackline, and it got seen, and got invited to do a Guinness record with this. And then I tried high heels. I wasn't the first one to try high heels. Faith tried them on, and some other girls also tried them on high lines, and that's how partially how I got the idea to try it. But I liked the process of learning how to bounce with high heels, which was super scary at first. So I started like really on a really low line, and I tried to just stand on the line and with high heels on. And it was actually funny when the first time I tried it at the Slackline park. I went to a tiny line, and there was a lot of beginners who wanted to try slackline. And once it was my turn to try the line, the guy whose line that was, he said, "Oh, take your shoes off." He thought I was a beginner who wanted to try with high heels. So let's see what Manuela is asking. Manuela is my friend. What is your recommendation to learn new tricks on a line like skydive, etc.? Yeah, that's what Manuela is learning. Like she can actually do it. So how we learned, I think the best part in tricklining is to have a partner, like, or a group, because then you can inspire each other, you can help each other. Like with Manuela, she learned how to do a skydive with Zeph's help. So it's great to have like somebody who can suggest such stuff, like even over internet. Like Zeph helped me a lot as well with learning the tricks, even though it can be just like a few things. Or sometimes it's like gymnasts or gymnast coaches good at noticing certain things. But it's better to ask somebody who is a trickliner, because there is like specifics to tricklining, because we're not like completely straight, we're twisted. So it's good to have that, and then it's good to have a physically present person. Like I was holding Manuela's hand when she was trying to skydive, and the person, like if you have a person you trust, nothing can stop you. Like first of all, it's a lot of support, like moral support, like people would cheer for you. Like for me, like the best moments that I had was when I was about to land something, or like I was working on something, and when you get support. Like it's, I know some people train by yourself, and it's a totally different time space in your head. But I think it's really helpful to have like somebody's hand, or somebody's like just who would watch you do stuff. So there can be different recommendations for different tricks, but that's like the general advice for that. Thank you, Olga. Slightly off topic, but what's important about competitions? I don't quite understand what you mean. Like, what's important? I think it's like competitions are important for any sport, because that's what motivates people, what moves them forward. I'm just like, if I compete in immature category, or a female category. I don't quite understand the question, but I think competitions are great. Like I think that's like the earlier you can go and compete anywhere, and if you just a beginner, it motivates you. Like first of all, you see other levels of what people can do, and it seems so easy. And once you go back to the training, you're like, oh my god, I can't still do this, but they are doing that and that and that. But it makes you feel like a part of the sport, and like don't feel intimidated about going and competing, even if you're just a beginner, like just like starting out, because that's how it starts for everyone. Like you feel intimidated when you go and compete, you feel like you're out of place, but then you get better and better and better, and it's like, I think it's a great way to grow. Hey, I have a question about Gymline XL. Is possible to learn and improve basic trickline moves such as chest bounce and butt bounce on that line? I think if you have, I don't know what XL, like I don't know how long XL is, but like when I started tricklining, lines were much shorter, like people use much shorter and lower lines, and now the lines are much longer and higher. So if you watch like old school trickline videos, you can see like really like they even like they started with 1 inch lines being tightened, you know, like so right now it's a bit different when it was before. But on the Gymline, you can do a lot of stuff. You can watch, like Gibbon posts a lot of, it's Gymline Friday. They post a lot what you can do on a Gymline. But I just think in general, if the line is too short, it's not bouncy enough, and it's hard for your body because it's like feels like concrete. So you need a longer, like I would suggest like 55, 60 feet is a minimum. And then once you grow a little bit, you can go like 80 feet or longer. Sorry, I'm this is speaking about feet. You gotta see what it is in meters. But you can work on a lot of stuff on the shorter line as well. Like I like doing feet to feet stuff because jumping on feet feels really great and stable on a shorter line. So you can work like there's also like people work on combinations of like static tricks and bouncy tricks. I don't know if you're into it. I am not great at static moves. I just like bouncing. What will be your next step within the trickline world? A big dream goal you would like to achieve? Yeah, since I'm moving really slowly, so for me, like when I watch like Japanese kids when they learn so fast, and it just so fast. It's fascinating. So I set up I set my goals. Like for me, I just landed the front flip in Brazil. Now it's quarantine, and I've never even thrown it when I got back. So for me, it's like that's the next goal. I really want to try, since I have a short jib line that I can train on. I really want to try backflip feet to feet. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but that's what I want to try. And once I get like a chance to do like to train on a bigger setup, I really want to throw doubles. I don't know like how long for me it'll take to land a double, but that's what I want to do. I started with the basic jib line, 15 meters, and I learned butt bounce and chest bounce on it. It works perfectly. That's great. Yeah, I think 15, it's like 45 feet, yeah. But after using some longer lines, I think it's really tough to use lines shorter than 20-25 meters long, yes. Because you understand the bouncy feeling of a trick line, that it bounces you. I remember Luke Distel told me when he started, like he didn't have a lot of like nobody to explain what to use in terms of setup, and he set up just like a regular line, and it wasn't like the good setup, and he's like, how do I get it to bounce? It doesn't bounce. And then, you know, obviously he became like one of the best trick liners. But it's just like it's so important to understand what line to use. And I have a couple of videos. One is about pulley systems and one is about ratchet setups on YouTube. You can watch it if you have questions. So since I don't have the more questions on YouTube, I'm gonna go back to my notes. Oh, another thing for like very, very beginners, quick note, it's great to use biking shorts to start bouncing, because it protects your butt. Or like a slackline pad that I talked about earlier. Also long pants, because you get like in the front leg you'll have like over here you have a big like a spot that the line touches you, so it's easier with some longer pants. But once some people, once they get used to it, they get rid of pants. I prefer to train in pants. Shoes, some people ask shoes or no shoes. I like it in shoes with like flat soles and very light shoes. But some people, like especially in Brazil, they train barefoot. And I guess they get used to like the skin gets used to touching the line. For me, I would just get like scrapes, and then like they would be so painful that I wouldn't be able to train. So for me, I use shoes. I also have a video about like mental training and what helped me to get rid of fear, and how like I plan my training routine. You can find it on YouTube as well. I also have a video if you think you're too old to trickline, so I like that one as well. Also, okay, let me see if we have more questions. Which one is your favorite line for tricklining? I really like Gibbon lines. From Slackline Industries, I like Boss line. From Gibbon lines, at first I really liked Epic line, then I switched to Slamina. I really like Jan's line. That's my favorite at the moment. I know a lot of people, like especially pros, they like setting up surf line. It's very hard for me, but I guess for people with high level it works better. Maybe like it gives a better bounce, but that's for me. Did you already use trampoline to learn and be less scared about flips and other spin moves? Do you recommend it? I think anything that you can do to improve your self-awareness is great. Like I started doing trampoline more when I was when I started to slackline, because I just wanted to understand how to twist, because I don't have any sports background, so I wanted to understand how to move and do stuff. I know a lot of trickliners, they learn their first flips on a slackline, um, um, but I think it helps. But it's also very different from like trampoline. Trampoline and slackline technique is different because we're twisted. Like the way we sit on the line, like our upper body's twisted, so we're not throwing the same way how people throw it on the trampoline. So it's a different technique, but of course it helps. Um, but it requires a lot of hours of training on a trick line to do it. So it's like it helps to a certain extent. So let me switch to the questions that I have here. How are you not afraid? I am afraid. For me, it takes a long time to warm up to a trick, and like I know a lot of people who are, I think like almost everybody else, that are less scared to just send it. For me, I have to like look at the videos, I have to analyze, I have to look at my technique, I have to analyze my technique, and I would slowly move into the trick. So I think it's normal to be scared, but it shouldn't. I get on the line and I imagine, if I get on the line and I imagine, I think we had some technical difficulties, failure. Like let's say before the trick. Okay, it's back. So if I get on the line and before doing the trick, I imagine a failure, I stop. Like it's really a quick thought that can enter your mind. Like if before doing the trick, I imagine like, oh, I get slapped or something like this, I stop. I get off the line and I reimagine it until I can imagine it in a smooth way. I also like before competitions, what helps me to not be scared is I imagine my whole routine. That's actually like Dylan Lusberg's secret, how to prepare for competitions. So I'm gonna whisper it. But I imagine the routine from the beginning to the end until it's smooth. I would like go somewhere else, like where there is no people, and I would just like imagine me going to the line, getting on, like everything from the beginning, like standing next to the line, then getting on the line, and then the whole routine, like a POV video. And if I feel that something is not connecting, like if I can't connect this trick to this trick, maybe I shouldn't do it this way, or I would reimagine it until I can connect it in my brain. And it works like magic. Like it makes you so focused, and you're not scared because you're focusing so much on your routine, and it's like your brain is so focused, it gets you in a flow. And actually, like the flow thing is amazing. I've been reading a lot about it, and in my video about how to land the butt flip, you can hear a lot about flow and how to train. Okay, let's see if we have more questions. Some people are asking, is over water better? Like I know a lot of people like throwing their first like crazy tricks over water. I personally never trick lined over water. I don't like falling in the water. But it can be a useful tool. Like recently Ben Schneider wanted to try like some triples over water, but the water was too shallow. But I think it's a great tool to do it because I'm not scared of landing. But you can also do it over a foam pit or with a harness on, so you don't like actually land. Like somebody can just pull the ropes so you don't fall in the line or you don't fall at all. Like for me, that works the best. all our 2-inch kits are the same, but our ratchets are soft pointed. Yeah, I already addressed that. Common injuries and how to avoid them. With trick lining, injuries are, I think, unavoidable. Like especially in the beginning when you're just getting used to it, there can be different kinds of injuries. But like the common things that you can work on is, since we're using a lot of, like, I really like this book, and I made a video with Christine about hips, because we're using our hip flexors, because we're bringing our like knees to our chest a lot, and like especially our front leg, using the hip flexors the most. So we get really tight hips, like psoas muscles and iliacus. And I'll show you. And then people start having like lower back pain. It's very common. So here, psoas muscles and iliacus, they go like over here on your like iliacus muscles. They go. I'll show you. They're like inside of like, if this is a bone, it's inside here. So they get super tight, and then people start having lower back pain, like clicking hip, like shooting pain down the leg, and all of that stuff is common. You can use a ball. Here's Christine's ball, and you can put it between your belly button and this bone, and just lay on your stomach to release psoas muscles. And then for iliacus, you can use a different technique. You can either ask somebody to press on iliacus, like you have to angle the pressure to release it, or you can buy like a tool that Christine has. And it helps a bunch because we're overusing that muscle. So it's sooner or later it has like effect on your body. So you have to release it every once in a while. And I also use this ball. It's a lacrosse ball for all the glutes, because glutes are the opposite muscle of the hip flexors. And I just not roll, but I would go on my back. And let me actually show you. So what I do is this: I put it down, I go on my back like this, and I would press against like different muscles, and you would feel how tight they are. And you should not roll around, but you should find a muscle and hold it at least for 90 seconds, and it would release the tension. That's how muscles get released. And I would just like then move it somewhere else, and I would hold it for 90 seconds. And with the psoas is this ball, and as I said, I put it here, and I would just like lay on my stomach like this also for 90 seconds. And sometimes you can feel it all the way down your leg. And for me, like my psoas muscles were so tight that I couldn't lay on my back flat. I would have to like put pillows under my knees, because I would just have my back arched, and because they were so tight. And then recently I learned how to release my iliacus muscles, and it's great. So if you have questions about body, like, because I had so many injuries from like being injured or from overusing muscles with trick linings, that I learned so much about my body, and I can help with certain pains that you guys have, or Christine has. Christine can as well. Okay, so what are the other questions? What injuries for you suck the most? I had like the first, I don't want to even talk about injuries, because like with trick lining is so hard, because like at first you might not even be scared of a certain trick, but once you get slapped, or once you get like injured on it, it's so hard to go back to it. Like it's so you start being scared of it. And I recommend going back to like the beginning to think about how originally you got into the trick, or tried with help to ease into it again. But it does suck, like with injuries, that you start being scared. Does your hair ever get stuck? No. I put my hair up like this, so it doesn't get stuck. When did high heel enter the story for you? Um, for me, I have a friend who is a stunt coordinator, and he was looking for somebody who could walk a high heel, like in high heels on a tightrope. And that's how I wanted, like that's how I started trying on tricklining. And since for me, it was like really slow with my progress with tricks, and with like high heels it was like whoa. So I experimented with high heels a bunch. Like I could definitely do more, but like for me, I like tricks, even though I competed in high heels in Brazil. But I just do it more for fun, like an additional challenge rather than like pursuing it specifically. um I don't know, guys, if you have more questions. I'm running out of things to talk about. So in general, for beginners, is like good setup, people who help taking care of your body, not going too much over your level. um okay, let me know if you have more questions, otherwise we'll call it a day. Since there is a delay, I'm gonna wait a little bit. Basically, I also have like a lot of educational videos on my YouTube, and my on my Instagram. My Instagram is Olga.Henry, and you can ask me questions. Um, I really like to inspire people who are like me, who don't have a lot of like sports background, or who are older, or women. Um, and I think like among the women in slacklining, there is a connection all over the world. Like we feel connected because there is not a lot of uh, girls who do it yet, but there are really good girls who like amazing. Okay, I like to watch them progress. Um, um, so if you have questions, let me know. There's another question. What do you recommend to back up trick lines, ratchet, and web blocks? So I guess you're talking about, yes. So important part. Thank you for the question. You have to back up your like if you're using ratchets, then backing up ratchets is super important. Or if you have a pulley system, backing up both of your ends are important, because if you don't do it and the something happens with your anchor, then the ratchet is going to fly into you with tremendous speed. So always back up your ratchets. I use Gibbons ropes for it. They're strong enough to back up. um, you can use pieces of webbing to do it. Um, so yes, backing up. Thank you for the question. Is really important. It's super important. It's one of like the main safety things when you start, because trick line has so much tension, and people don't realize how much tension it is. like it's 16, like it goes up to 16 kilonewtons. And if you would put a weight on both sides, it would be like 3 tons of weight on both sides. So it's a lot of tension. So we're gonna have like after my episode is gonna be super cool episode with how not to highline. So check that out. I'm gonna watch this as well. I love their channel. Okay, guys, I think that's it. We don't have more questions. Keep training. Let me know if you need any help. Love you.